There's a story making the rounds right now. You may have seen other commentators talk about it, and that it is that fake meat is categorically getting rejected by consumers who've had enough of the pressure from all areas of life right now to submit ourselves to the demands of the bright blue-haired, stinky plant-based zealots who want us to give up eating food for humans in exchange for eating glorified dog food instead, among other things they want to do. Many seeing this as a victory in the rhetorical battle for human nutrition, and it certainly is, but there's another story no one is reporting, and that the plant-based forces are now entering the realm of politics in a formal way to try to force their change upon us. So let's dive into both of those stories. Let's start with the better news first. From Bloomberg, we get the spiritually uplifting headline. Once hot fake meat sales slide on price and being too ideological, Deloitte reports deteriorating perceptions regarding plant-based meat. That's, again, putting this mildly. Ideology hasn't just turned consumers off in the food sector of the economy. We're seeing it everywhere, including in Hollywood and anything that the dyed blue-haired angry brigade and their ideology touches. But it's not only ideology. The fake meat they're talking about here is impossible and beyond, and they are just gross. No one is honestly who tries it likes that stuff, and frankly, vegans are probably touching that stuff in any real numbers either. From the article, just a few years ago, with a blockbuster initial public offering from Beyond Meats Incorporated and the unveiling of an Impossible Whopper at Burger King locations nationwide, plant-based meats were ascendant. Now, after once enjoying double-digit growth, sales in the plant-based meat category are not just flat, but declining, according to data from Information Resources Incorporated, or IRI. That's due to possible saturation of the U.S. market as new brands hit the shelves, according to Deloitte Consulting LLP. Sales of refrigerated meat alternatives at retailers are down 10.5% by volume for the 52 weeks ending September 4th, their data shows. While higher prices are the top reason for the slide, it's not the only one, according to Jonah Parker, a fresh food specialist at the market research company. Proteins that were cheaper on a price per pound basis did fare better, Parker said, noting that semi-vegetarian shoppers that may have opted for an alt product will now just go for the less expensive real thing. With inflation, consumers have become less willing to pay a premium for faux meat. Taste and health concerns are also playing a role, she said. They are bearing the lead a little bit. End quote. In a video I have on a related subject in a couple of days, I point out repeatedly that these companies are making a stupid error consistently, aside from the fact that their meat product doesn't even taste good. And the stupid error is that it's you can actually see most obviously is that the fast food adoption of the fake meats. And that's this. Pretty much any place serving a Beyond Burger, they try to sell the fake meat version of, say, the Superstar with cheese or whatever for $1 more than the conventional one made of mostly real food. Or at best, they charge the same price depending on the fast food outlet. That's a bad idea. It's a bad strategy. And why would you as a consumer pay more for something that's probably not going to taste the same as the regular item? And then when you do try the fake meat version, it simply doesn't taste the same as a real one, and it doesn't taste better. It tastes worse. That's why these product launches consistently fail. They have to find a way to charge less than the conventional product, but they won't, because to think that Americans want to eat fake meat on any large scale means probably not the brightest bulb in the tree. But it's not only price which has been handled stupidly enough in all of this. Ideology permeates everything now. We get no space from partisan and ideological politics. And frankly, the advertising and messaging of the fake meat industry is part of that same problem. This is why I keep telling you repeatedly, I don't really care how you vote, just make sure you factor in all these issues when you do. Quote, Deloitte also suspects that the addressable market may be more limited than previously thought, with a growing cultural resistance to its ideological status, even among those seeking to reduce red meat consumption. Case in point, when Cracker Barrel announced plans to add Impossible Foods sausage to its menu over the summer, it faced an onslaught of criticism on social media. End quote. And they give you a bunch of really just wonderful quotes there. I'm not going to read because YouTube wouldn't like it. But other companies like Impossible Foods right now are claiming that their stock is down, their profits are actually up, and they think they can keep going. We'll see. The article goes on to remind us that most of us don't believe plant-based meat alternatives are better for the environment than actual meat, which is true, because most people don't believe that anymore. We don't believe that because processed foods from industrial agriculture are simply not better for the environment than meat, because they're not. If you want to create a sterile, empty environment with no actual life in them, continue to push industrial agriculture on a large scale, the scale needed to feed 350 million Americans plant-based foods, instead of having animals in pastures eating meat, defecating on the ground, thus refertilizing the ground, surrounded by a cacophony of insects, because pastures are ecosystems of their own. Most of us who have any concern at all for the created world understand this pretty well, and selling us soy paste burgers will make the problem worse, not better. I personally am skeptical that Impossible Burgers will replace Beyond Meat in the market, as they imply that they will. A similar report from the Independent Journal Review reveals this little problem for them. Fake meat sales across the board have fallen dramatically in the past year or so. Quote, as of September 4th, the sale of refrigerated fake meats has dropped 10.5% compared to the year prior, Bloomberg reported. This is quite shocking, considering that only a few years ago in 2020, industry sales skyrocketed by a whopping 27%, as is shown in a Plant-Based Food Association report. End quote. That having been said, though, the plant-based fake meat industry, they're doing okay for now. They're actually doing pretty well. Well enough that they've started their own special interest organization. And this is what no one else seems to be talking about. This special interest organization is designed to help get lawmakers to push their fake meat lifestyle using the power of the state. From plantbasedfoods.org, headline, newly launched Plant-Based Foods Institute aims to drive plant-based food system transition through domestic and international collaboration. That is a fancy way of saying that they're now entering the realm of politics to affect the change they want to see in the world. To use one of their tired expressions, they're being the change they want to see. So to speak, even though they haven't gotten the memo that no one wants their ideology. We're all tired of their ideological games being played by pretty much every sector of the economy right now. I mean, everything is political, and we're tired of it. Clearly, this organization means to push their program despite no one wanting their politics. From the article, quote, today, the Plant-Based Foods Association, PBFA, the first and only U.S.-based trade organization supporting plant-based food companies, is proud to announce the launch of the Plant-Based Food Institute, PBFI, a sister nonprofit organization to PBFA. Working in alignment with the PBFA's ethos that business can be a vehicle for transitioning our food system, PBFI works domestically and internationally to identify, implement, and evaluate effective approaches to advance business and policy best practices in support of a regenerative, plant-based food system. One that respects the rights of all animals to live free of exploitation, ensures fairness for farmers and workers, promotes good health and nutrition, is restorative, and remains within ecological limits. The plant-based food industry represents an opportunity to innovate and optimize the way we feed the world. 57% of food production emissions come from raising animals for meat and dairy and growing crops for animal feed. No, it doesn't. That's how they try to get to that numbers, by including animal feed into their silly little numbers there. Industrial animal agriculture consumes a majority of fresh water and land resources while driving deforestation and biodiversity loss worldwide. As recent IPCC reports have made clear, food systems change has never been more imperative. Plant-based diets are a tangible, actionable path towards a healthier, more sustainable, more resilient, and more equitable food future for all. PBFI will work with stakeholders at every stage of the supply network to make this future a reality, end quote. So they're using some shady international organizations to back their claim up, and they're promising to change the actual system itself. So despite the flagship fake meat companies are failing, may not be around this time next year, they are persisting. Why? Because the fake meat zealots believe they can get the rest of us to eat their swill whether we like it or not. That's what it means when they say they want to transition to a plant-based food economy. That's why these organizations exist, to push lawmakers to adopt their plans. That is what they mean by that. And they're being powered by a fake meat industry that is, for the time being, still making quite a lot of money, and is fueled by high-profile billionaire donors and the likes of groups such as the World Economic Forum and other similar organizations, all of whom have said, if we want to survive as a species, we need to switch to soy paste meat instead of eating a proper human diet. So while it's good news that mainstream outlets like Bloomberg are reporting that fake meat is failing for consumers, don't let your guard down on all this. Support your local rancher as much as you can. Become a rancher if you can. Those are the best ways to fortify ourselves against this misanthropic program of theirs. What do you think? Is Beyond Meat's failure a sign of a larger problem for the plant-based people, or is it simply that the company is being badly managed? Does this new special interest group concern you at all, since they are coming out and just flat out saying they're going to use politics to get what they want? Let me know what you think of all this in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. It really does help. Share this on social media if you can. That helps a lot as well. I'm the Practical Carnivore, Anthony Stine. Thanks for watching today.